What happens when your new neighbor's wife wants more than just a friendly chat? Imagine your new neighbor's wife starts showing up at your door, and what starts as a simple conversation quickly turns into something far more dangerous. This is the story of Cole Rayner, and how one innocent encounter spirals into a web of betrayal, temptation, and regret. Cole has always been a creature of habit. A 30-something writer, he's spent the last few years buried in his work, writing novels that barely make a splash, but enough to keep him and his wife, Maeve, comfortable. His life is quiet, calm, and predictable. Maeve, a marketing exec, is successful, but her job keeps her away from home, leaving Cole to his own devices for long stretches of time. It's a routine he's settled into comfortably. But recently, something started to feel off. He loves Maeve, but their marriage feels distant. Her long hours, his late nights writing, they've grown apart without even realizing it. Then, one day, new neighbors move in next door. The Canes. At first, Cole barely notices. But it's hard to ignore the perfect suburban picture they present. Brock, the successful businessman, is constantly away on business trips, while his wife, Tessa, is left alone at home, day after day. At first, Cole thinks nothing of it, just another couple trying to settle into the neighborhood. But then, he starts noticing Tessa more, a little too much. The neighborhood seems perfect, quiet, friendly, and uneventful. It's the kind of place where everyone keeps to themselves, and life goes on without a hitch. Cole's writing goes uninterrupted, his routine unchallenged. But that's before Tessa. He sees her often, working in her garden, walking her dog, checking the mail, and each time, something about her presence catches his eye. She's friendly, but there's a certain loneliness about her that makes her seem different. She's always outside, always alone, and the more Cole notices her, the more he begins to feel that something in the perfect neighborhood is about to break. But what exactly? Cole's quiet life is about to be shattered, and it's all because of a woman he never meant to notice in the first place. It started so casually that Cole didn't even see it coming. He had been sitting at his desk, the late afternoon sun spilling through his window, casting a warm light across the room as he typed the final lines of his latest novel. Writing had always been Cole's escape, his quiet refuge from the world. But today, the calm would soon be broken. Tessa, his new neighbor, appeared at his front door, her figure framed by the soft glow of the late afternoon. She was holding a steaming cup of coffee, her blonde hair falling loosely around her shoulders, and she smiled as Cole opened the door. "Hey, Cole," she greeted, her voice bright but casual. "I thought I'd stop by and say hello. I'm Tessa, your new neighbor." "Nice to meet you, Tessa," Cole replied, stepping aside to let her in. He hadn't really had a chance to talk to her before, but he'd seen her around, always walking the dog, tending to the small garden outside her house. Her presence was familiar, but this felt different. She wasn't just passing by this time. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said, eyeing the papers scattered across his desk. "No, not at all. Just writing. What's up?" "Well," she said, hesitating slightly, "I wanted to tell you how much I love your house. It's got so much character. We are still unpacking, but everything's just so different from our last place." She glanced over her shoulder, towards the windows overlooking the neighborhood. "It's all so peaceful here, isn't it?" Cole nodded, smiling politely. "Yeah, it's a quiet neighborhood. It's one of the reasons we moved here." They talked for a few more minutes about the neighborhood. Tessa mentioned how she was still getting used to the area, and how it felt strange being away from the city. The small talk was harmless at first, the kind of conversation you'd have with any new neighbor. As the conversation shifted, Tessa's smile faded just a little. She looked down at her coffee cup, then back up at Cole, her eyes momentarily distant. "I'm not really used to being home alone so much," she said quietly, almost like she hadn't meant to say it out loud. "Brock's hardly ever here. He's always working, and it's like, well, it gets lonely, you know?" Cole paused. He had been so used to his own quiet routine, but Tessa's confession hit him in a way he hadn't expected. He nodded, unsure of what to say. "I get it. My wife works a lot, too," he said, trying to empathize. "Yeah," Tessa continued, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness. "I'm still trying to adjust to everything here. Moving, the new house, it's harder than I thought. I mean, you can only unpack so many boxes before it feels like you're just stuck in one big pile of stuff, you know?" She laughed softly, but Cole could tell it wasn't the kind of laugh that usually followed a joke. Cole, feeling a pull to help, leaned forward slightly. "It's tough, but I'm sure it'll get better once you settle in. If you ever need help with anything, whether it's getting a feel for the area or just figuring out some of the local spots, let me know. I'm around." Her smile returned, but this time, it seemed different. More genuine. "That's sweet of you to offer," she said. "I might just take you up on that. It's hard, though, you know? Being in a new place, trying to get everything figured out on your own." Tessa paused for a second, taking a sip of her coffee. Cole couldn't help but notice the way she lingered a little too long on each sentence, her eyes briefly meeting his before darting away. The conversation continued, but now it had shifted. Tessa wasn't just talking about her loneliness and adjustment anymore. It felt like she was letting herself open up more, bit by bit. She laughed a little too much at Cole's comments, always brushing a strand of hair behind her ear as if trying to keep things casual, but her gestures seemed deliberate, almost rehearsed. As they spoke, Cole noticed how often Tessa held eye contact with him. It wasn't just friendly, it made him feel slightly uncomfortable but also oddly drawn in. Every time their eyes met, her gaze seemed to linger just a moment too long, as if she were searching for something in him. Or maybe, he thought, she was just being friendly. After all, she didn't know anyone here, and he was just being polite. But still, the more they talked, the more Cole felt the subtle pull. It wasn't just her smile or the way she laughed at his jokes. It was the way she positioned herself a little too close when she spoke, the way she tilted her head when she asked him a question, like she was trying to see if there was something more to him, something more than just the neighbor across the street. He tried to brush it off, telling himself that she was probably just being friendly. Maybe it was her charm, maybe it was the fact that she was new in town and wanted someone to talk to. But even as he reassured himself, he couldn't deny that something about this conversation felt different from any other he'd had with a neighbor before. Over the next few weeks, Tessa's visits to Cole's house become more regular. At first, it's just small talk, casual chats over the fence or a quick hello when she's out watering her plants. But soon, Tessa starts to find excuses to stop by when her husband Brock is away at work. She asks for help with little tasks around her house, stuff that might seem insignificant but is enough to get Cole's attention. One afternoon, Tessa knocks on Cole's door, looking flustered. "Hey, Cole," she says with a sheepish smile, "I'm having trouble with the faucet in the kitchen. Would you mind taking a look?" It's a simple request, and Cole, being the helpful neighbor, agrees. As he follows her into the house, Tessa's smile is warm, almost inviting. She stands too close as she leads him to the sink, her body brushing against his lightly. The moment feels strangely intimate, and Cole can't shake the feeling that she's making a point to be near him. Another time, Tessa shows up with boxes from a recent move that she needs help organizing. She's alone again, and while Cole is lifting and sorting things, Tessa chats with him about the neighborhood, about how much she misses the city, and how hard it is to adjust to such a quiet life. She asks about his writing, genuinely interested in his work. Her attention makes him feel noticed, something he hasn't felt in a long time. Her compliments are flattering, and she laughs at his jokes in a way that feels different than the polite chuckles his wife Maeve offers after a long day. Each visit seems innocent enough, but Cole begins to notice how Tessa finds reasons to linger. The more time they spend together, the more he starts to feel an undeniable pull. Her voice is soft, and she touches his arm casually when she thanks him or makes a point. It's as if she's testing boundaries without saying anything outright. Tessa has a way of making Cole feel like the center of her world for those brief moments they're together. She's naturally flirtatious, and while she doesn't say anything overtly sexual, her actions speak volumes. She holds eye contact just a little longer than necessary, and the way she laughs at his jokes, genuinely amused, almost like he's the funniest person she's ever met, makes Cole feel special. At first, it's easy for him to brush it off as friendly behavior. Tessa's just being nice, right? But as time goes on, it starts to feel like more than just casual interaction. Her presence becomes intoxicating, and for the first time in a long while, Cole begins to feel desired. Her attention is flattering, and he starts to enjoy the way she makes him feel important, seen, and wanted. It's a feeling that's been missing in his own marriage for some time. Maeve, his wife, is often busy with work, and though they still love each other, their interactions feel more like two people who are roommates rather than a married couple. With Tessa, it's different. There's a warmth in her eyes when she talks to him, a closeness that Cole can't ignore. As Tessa's visits become more frequent, Cole is faced with a growing sense of conflict. He knows he's attracted to her, but he also knows it's wrong. He's married to Maeve, and though their relationship isn't perfect, he's committed to her. The idea of cheating, of betraying the woman he promised to love and cherish, weighs heavily on him. Cole tries to justify his attraction to her by telling himself it's just harmless flirting. Maybe she's just lonely, maybe she needs someone to talk to. He tells himself that he's only being friendly, that he's just helping her out as a neighbor. But deep down, he knows he's lying to himself. The truth is, he likes it. He likes the attention, the way Tessa makes him feel seen and appreciated in a way Maeve doesn't seem to anymore. Each visit with Tessa leaves him more confused, and more conflicted. He knows he's walking a dangerous line, but he can't seem to stop. It was a quiet evening in Cole's home. The kind of peaceful night he'd grown used to when Maeve was away for business. He had settled into his usual routine, writing at his desk, the soft hum of the house around him. But his tranquility was shattered by a knock on the door. Cole wasn't expecting anyone, so when he opened it, he was surprised to see Tessa standing there on the porch. "Hey, Cole," she said, her face a mix of frustration and embarrassment. "I've locked myself out, and Brock's not home. Can you help me get back inside?" Cole hesitated. It wasn't like him to get involved in his neighbor's personal issues, especially when it wasn't his responsibility. But he saw the helplessness in her eyes, something that tugged at him. "I guess I can give it a try," Cole finally replied, stepping aside to let her in. It wasn't a big thing, helping a neighbor. Cole followed Tessa around the side of her house to the back door. As they walked together, Tessa glanced at him over her shoulder. Her smile was casual, but her eyes held a kind of intensity that made Cole uncomfortable, and strangely drawn to her at the same time. "I swear, this always happens when Brock's away," she said, her voice low and almost playful. "Like the universe knows I'm on my own." Cole didn't know what to say, so he stayed silent, focusing on the task at hand. As Cole fumbled with the lock, trying to focus on something on the task at hand, Tessa reached out. Her fingers brushed lightly against his arm, a sensational touch. It wasn't an accident. She meant it. Her hand lingered there longer than necessary. Their eyes met, she didn't look away. The world seemed to narrow down to just the two of them standing in the dim light of the backyard. Cole's pulse quickened. He should pull away. He should remind himself that he was married, that he shouldn't be here, feeling this way. But he didn't. Instead, he stood still, caught in the moment, the silence between them thick with unspoken words. Tessa smiled. She knew exactly what she was doing, and Cole wasn't sure if he could fight it. The door finally gave way, and Tessa pushed it open, gesturing for Cole to follow her inside. "Thanks for helping me out," she said softly, her voice different now, more intimate. "Would you like to come in for a while? I don't want you to leave just yet." Without waiting for his answer, she led him into the house. Her movements were fluid, graceful, and the space between them felt smaller with every step. The quiet inside the house felt heavier somehow, more intimate. As she motioned for him to sit down, Tessa was already taking off her shoes, her body language more relaxed than before. They sat together on the couch, the conversation light at first, small talk about the house, about the neighborhood. But Tessa was persistent, her questions slowly growing more personal, digging into parts of Cole's life he didn't share easily. She was asking him things Maeve had never asked. About his dreams, his fears, the things he hadn't thought about in years. And then, without warning, Tessa leaned in. She was so close now, that Cole could feel the heat from her body. And then, her lips on his. It started gentle, just a brush, but it deepened quickly. Tessa's kiss was firm, sure, and before Cole could stop himself, he was kissing her back. His mind flashed to Maeve, but the chemistry with Tessa was undeniable. The kiss grew more urgent, more desperate, as Tessa pulled him closer. Her hands were everywhere, his face, his neck, his chest, each touch sending a jolt through him. Cole could feel the boundary he had been trying so hard to maintain slipping away, piece by piece. Tessa's hands slid under his shirt, and his breath hitched, but still, he didn't stop. His mind screamed at him to break free, to think of Maeve, but it was too late. The kiss turned into something more. It was fun while it lasted. Cole couldn't shake the feeling that he was drowning. His mind was constantly in turmoil, wrestling with the guilt. The kiss with Tessa had felt like an impulsive decision, something he'd never thought would happen. But now, after crossing that line, there was no going back. He had betrayed his wife, Maeve, in a way that he could never undo. The worst part? Tessa seemed completely unbothered. She wasn't conflicted or guilty. In fact, she encouraged him to continue the affair, as if it was just some innocent fling. She told him that she was unfulfilled in her marriage to Brock, that she needed excitement, and that he deserved the same kind of thrill. Tessa made it seem like the affair was a kind of escape for both of them, a temporary relief from their mundane lives. She constantly reassured Cole that it didn't have to be anything serious. It was just about feeling alive, about breaking the routine. But with each passing day, the guilt inside Cole grew heavier. When he tried to distance himself, Tessa wouldn't let him. She texted him constantly, asking to meet up, sending flirtatious messages, and even guilt-tripping him into seeing her again. "Don't push me away, Cole," she'd say. "I need you." Cole's secret life came crashing down the day Maeve found out. She had found the text messages from Tessa telling him how much she missed him. She had seen the missed calls and the obvious signs that something was going on. Her voice trembled as she asked him, "What's going on, Cole? Who is she?" Maeve was devastated. She didn't shout, she didn't accuse him of anything at first, but her silence said it all. The trust they'd built over the years was shattered, and Cole knew he had no way of repairing it. She accused him of betraying her trust, of throwing their marriage away for something fleeting, something reckless. The reality of what he had done hit him harder than any argument could have. That night, Cole sat alone in their living room. He could still feel Maeve's hurtful words ringing in his ears. But more than that, he could feel the emptiness that had overtaken him. What had he gained from the affair? What had he hoped to find with Tessa? Cole had sought excitement and passion in Tessa's arms, but what had it given him? A hollow, empty feeling that gnawed at his insides. What once seemed like an escape had become a trap. He was no longer in control of his life. The lies, the secrecy, the guilt, it was all consuming him. Sometimes, the temptations we think we can control end up controlling us instead. What started as a simple flirtation, a momentary distraction, had spiraled into something far worse than he could have imagined. The excitement he sought had been nothing more than an illusion, a temporary high that faded the moment reality set in. The truth was, he had lost everything: his wife, his integrity, and the life he once knew. Tessa had been just a catalyst, a fleeting spark in a long-running fire. But it was Cole who had let the flame consume him. He wasn't the man he had been before, the dependable, predictable husband. Now, he was someone unrecognizable. The cost of his choices.